I am Olivia Bennett, and this happened about 7 months after I moved out because I thought independence would make me stronger. I had always wanted to study medicine, and living alone felt like the kind of sacrifice serious people made. Most nights, Instagram was the only thing that reminded me I wasn't living under a rock, so I was pretty active on Instagram. The follow request came at around 11:30 on a Wednesday night while I was studying for a biology exam at my desk. The account was @Emily. It looked like a bot account because it didn't have a profile picture, posts, or followers. I should have declined it immediately, but I was 19, tired, and hardly thinking straight, and I'd gotten dozens of random follow requests that week from people starting new accounts or bots or whatever. I accepted it without a second thought and went back to my notes on cellular respiration. Seconds later, my phone buzzed. @Emily had posted a story. I tapped it, more out of curiosity than anything else. The image loaded, and my stomach dropped. It was unmistakably my house. The photo was taken from the street, but my bedroom window was visible on the second floor. The curtains were open, and the lights were on, and if you squinted closely enough, you could see my shadow under the glow of the desk lamp beside the edge of my bookshelf. Before I could wrap my head around it, a message came through. "You should turn that off now, Olivia." My hands started shaking, and my mouth went dry. I hurriedly got up from my desk, turned off the lamp, and closed the curtains. My room went dark, except for the glow from my laptop screen. I stood there in the darkness, trying to process what was happening. Right then, my phone buzzed again. @Emily had posted another story. I opened it with my heart hammering in my chest and nearly screamed. The story refreshed. It was my house again, but from the inside this time. The photo was taken low to the ground, like someone was crouched in my hallway with the camera pointed straight at my bedroom door. My chest tightened. They were inside my house, close enough to move through it, take photos, and post them while I stood frozen in my dark room, afraid to make a sound. I hurriedly ran and locked my bedroom door before grabbing my phone and dialing 911. I kept pressing my head against the door to listen for sounds as the call connected and the operator answered. I whispered that someone was in my house. She told me to find a place to hide and stay on the line. I crawled into my closet, pulled the door shut, and sat there in the dark with my phone pressed to my ear and my free hand over my mouth to keep myself from making noise. I could hear soft shuffling in the hallway, followed by a low giggle that made my stomach twist. The operator kept talking to me while she told me the police were on their way, and I stayed curled up in that closet, counting my breaths and flinching at every sound the house made. At some point, I checked Instagram again. The account had gone offline, but hadn't taken the photos down. By the time the police arrived, I was sobbing so hard I could hardly speak straight. An officer consoled me while another searched the entire house. They found my back door unlocked, but everything else was in its rightful place. They took my phone and looked at the Instagram account. @Emily was still there, but both stories had expired. One officer took screenshots anyway and asked if I knew anyone named Emily. I told them I didn't. They filed a report and told me to change my locks and install cameras. One officer suggested I stay somewhere else for a few days. I called my parents and they drove over to get me at 2 in the morning. I never set foot in that house again. My parents moved my stuff out over the next week while I stayed with them. We put the house on the market a month later. I completed pre-med and chose a university in another state. I will graduate in 6 months, but the cops have yet to trace them. I don't think they ever will. The @Emily account disappeared completely the next day, as if it had never existed. They tracked the IP address to a public library 3 towns over, but the security footage from that night had already been recorded over by the time they checked. I have tried putting it past me and moving on, but the episode still lingers somewhere in the back of my mind, and I can't help but replay the night over and over in my head. Who were they? What did they want? How did they know exactly where my house and room were? I wonder if they're still out there and have found someone else to follow. Someone whose bedroom window is visible from the street and who accepts follow requests from blank accounts at 11:30 at night without thinking twice.